Please welcome to the stage NewsNation political editor and anchor of The Hill Sunday on NewsNation, Chris Stirewalt, in conversation with the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Jim Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. You could give a little, there you go. You could give a little, you could zhuzh it up a little bit. You could zhuzh. Don't let that post-lunch malaise come over this room. Maintain the energy. Okay, you all know who Jim Jordan is. Yes, and you got an amen right there from the front row.
You're kind, thank you.
So his district is 4th in Ohio, outside of Columbus, central Ohio. He is very important, and everyone is very nice to him in Washington because he is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and that draws a lot of water in this city. That is a big gig. He's one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus. You are now, this is interesting for me to say, you are the dean of the Ohio delegation.
I'm old, yeah.
It's very serious and it's very important. He's a 61-year-old man. He has 4 kids and a bunch of grandkids now. And please give him another round of applause to welcome him.
Yeah, don't clap. I haven't said anything yet.
Okay. I think an underappreciated fact is that the way that Washington is today and the way it has changed in the past 5 years, I think you were a bigger part of that than most people appreciate, right? The world that we live in, if you like the way that the world that we live in and the direction it's going in Washington now, then you should thank Jim Jordan. And if you don't like it, you shouldn't thank him, because when we talk about the idea of a rescission package, if we start with the very fact that the Senate is going to ping pong back to you a package of cuts that include Elmo, and this was even before Elmo said the stuff he said on Twitter. That world exists because you and your colleagues held everybody's feet to the fire. And you said, no, 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 no. And so you created this world. But now success is funny because now you have to govern. And now you're part, and I don't mean this word pejoratively, but now you are part of the establishment. And so when you have to govern, you've come in as an insurgent, now you're part of what's in charge. Talk about the tension between when you hear, for example, we heard the former speaker talking about it. $5 trillion is a lot of new borrowing. And that's not something that you probably would have voted for in the old world, but now because you say, we've got Donald Trump, we can do the stuff, we're going to do it. Talk about the tension.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always a tension in Congress. Everyone wants to spend other people's money, and it's gotten out of control. So yeah, I would be for reducing spending even more than we did in the big, beautiful bill, or than this rescission package, but it's a start. And it's a good start, because I don't recall it happening, and I've been in Congress now 18 and a half years. I don't recall it happening before. So
didn't happen in the first Trump term.
Yeah, even though it's, $9 billion, it's still $9 billion. What was it? The old line, $1 million here, $1 million there. Pretty soon it's real money. So the start's good. I wish we were doing this all along, but.
Are you okay with if the Senate comes back with less? Or you're okay?
It's got to be done by Friday. So the clock is basically got to take it. It's $400 million less than what we sent over there. So I would be for doing it. But yeah, I think this is a good start. Remember when the president gave his joint address to Congress a few months ago? I thought it was a great speech, but the highlight, or maybe the best part of the speech, is when he rattled off all the dumb things your money's being spent on. And even boom, 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 as you point out, Sesame Street and Baghdad, Bert and Ernie and Big Bird and Baghdad. It's just stupid, right? So, and a host of other things. I actually went to OMB and said, why not send us a bill a day? I don't care if it's $1, I don't care if it's $1 billion, I don't care what it is. Send us a bill a day. Start with a list. And politics is also about momentum. So I would have preferred that, but there's a number of things they have to consider and how it works and make sure they have the votes. And I understand what Russ Vote and OMB were doing and they were doing, but I just felt like it'd been better if we'd have been a little bit at a time, just keep doing this and putting up wins. But it's good that we got the big, beautiful bill done 2 weeks ago. This done, looks like this will get done on Friday.
When we get down to brass tacks on each of these things, right? And we have members and I'm not, whether it's Chip Roy or Ralph Norman or whomever, that say, I can't do it, I'm not going to vote for this, $5 trillion is too, I can't do it. The way that they get over the finish line, and the former speaker referenced this too, is that the president says, there's a bill, and then there's what I say is really going to happen in the future. So there's this greater degree of confidence that it certainly works to the speaker's advantage, current speaker's advantage, but in terms of calming anxious conservatives.
Yeah.
Talk about how there's the negotiation between the leadership and the members, there's the negotiation amongst the members, and then there's that third and final piece, which is the negotiation with the White House.
Well, I think it's just a simple understanding President Trump does what he says. I always say we make the job way too complicated. It's pretty simple. What did you tell the voters you were going to do when you ran for it, when you put your name on the ballot? If you get elected, go do what you said. No one in my lifetime in politics, in our lifetimes, has done it better than President Trump. You just look at the first 7 months. He said he would secure the border. He did, right? He said Iran's not going to get a nuclear weapon. We had this amazing, successful operation by our military, took out Iran's nuclear capabilities. He said NATO should ante up more money. Well, shazam, they anteed up more money when he went and talked to him. He said we were going to cut taxes and get the big, beautiful bill passed. We did. So I think it's a recognition of that. And when the president talks with members of Congress and other folks, they understand this guy does what he said. And the other thing I think is real important, the president talks about this all the time. We are now, the party I belong to, we are now the party of common sense. The other party is the party of crazy. And I always say, not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls their party is. And you can go issue by issue. It is crazy to defund the police. It is crazy not to have a border, which was the case under Joe Biden. It is crazy to have men compete against women in sports. My favorite one. It is crazy to let a Chinese spy balloon fly clear across the country and then shoot it down. I mean, my guess is everyone in this room would have said, I know I would, I think Chris would have, I know the president would have. I'd have shot it down before it went across the country, right? So you can just, they understand the president is a common sense focused individual who cares about the country and is going to do what he said. And so when he tells members of Congress, look, we may not have this bill where we want on spending reductions. I mean, we can all agree to that, but we're going to keep working on that. And 2 weeks later, here we go. First rescission package in 18 years that I can recall going through Congress.
So in the area where the president wants trust right now, big area right now, and he is, as the kids would say, big mad today about people pestering him about the Jeffrey Epstein case and the case file. And he went off today and said basically,
I saw the post.
Yeah, he was not feeling the love, and he said that. We heard from his daughter-in-law, the former co-chairwoman of the Republican National Committee, more is coming. We're going to get more information out to people. We heard the Speaker of the House say more information we need to have more information. We need more transparency. No one has given the FBI and the Justice Department a harder time than you over the course of your career. You have been a thorn in their sides for a long time. What should happen here, and what do you think did happen here?
Well, first of all, I have confidence in the president, his team, working, you're right, we work with the Justice Department. The Judiciary Committee works with Justice Department all the time. Now, it's night and day compared to, night and day working with Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino versus Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and Chris Wray. In fact, I think Kash, we sent him 7 subpoenas on the second day on the job, asking for information. We got the information, go figure. So I have complete confidence in President Trump and his team. We've been working on this prior to this whole Epstein issue this last week and a half, but there's an annual trek that the Attorney General, and you know this, Chris, the Attorney General and the FBI Director make to Capitol Hill in front of the Judiciary Committee. We've been working on that. We think we've got dates already scheduled later this summer where they'll be in front of the committee, and I've told everyone, you can ask them, you know how those things go.
Yeah.
Republicans don't have questions for them. Democrats don't have questions for them on this issue and a host of other issues. And so we've already been working on that. And I think that's how it should proceed. And we've, like I said, been working on scheduling this. We think it's going to happen as soon as we get back from the August break.
Are you of a mind that the Biden administration did not tell the whole truth about what happened with Jeffrey Epstein? Because it was an Inspector General's report under the Biden administration. It was Biden DOJ that said in 23, they said grace over it basically and said it was a suicide.
Yeah.
It's fine. Do you think that they were not telling the whole truth?
I mean, I don't know. I do believe on lots of things the Biden administration wasn't square with the American people. I also think there could have been, who knows what the president, it's unfortunate, but President Biden, I just didn't think was up to the task. And we all sort of saw that coming. That's been an issue in and of itself. So whether they misled us or not, who knows? I don't know.
Okay. All right. So one of the other ways that you help shape the world that we live in now is when it came to what we in Washington call jawboning, but when it came to what the Biden administration was doing around COVID to suppress dissent and all of that stuff. And we all read the Twitter files and we all talked about all of that stuff, about the way that the Biden administration used the force of the federal government to intimidate the private sector, to limit speech. When you look at the Trump administration, they're not doing anything quietly, right? They're doing it out loud. They go pound on the door at the universities, at media outlets, at other places and say, you better change your tune or you're in trouble. Is there anything that you see from a jawboning kind of perspective or from an undue influence kind of perspective?
I don't see the attack on the First Amendment that we saw or the attack on the Constitution. Remember, to take COVID as an example. During COVID, I remember Bill Barr, then Attorney General, when it first started, put out a memorandum and said the Constitution is not suspended in a crisis. And I would argue that, in fact, is when it is most important.
Right.
That's when it counts the most. And then you had the Biden administration come in there and fire people. They tried to fire anyone who worked at a major company, let alone what they did to folks in the military. If you don't get the shot, you get out. And then remember how much they lied to us. Everything they told us turned out to be false. Everything, right? You can go down the list. They said it wasn't our money used at the lab in Wuhan, China. Yes, it was. They said it wasn't gain of function research done at the lab in China. Yes, it was. They said it didn't come from the lab in China. No. It was a bat to a pangolin, to a hippopotamus, to Joe Rogan, and then we all got COVID, right? Remember when that whole thing? They said the vaccinated can't get it, the vaccinated can't transmit it. They said masks work. They said 6 feet social distancing is based on science. And they said this is the first virus in history where there's no such thing as natural immunity. Like, you can't lie to us 8 times and then censor people who disagree with you, which they did. And the first person they tried to censor, this is scary, because what they did on the First Amendment stuff, working with big tech at the time, January 23rd, third day of the Biden administration, 2021, there was an email sent to Twitter, take down this tweet ASAP. And the tweet was from RFK Jr., who was their announced opponent in the Democrat primary. That is not supposed to happen in America. Take down someone's speech, and oh, by the way, they're running against me for the highest office in the land. That's what they did. And we'd had a whole investigation in our committee about this, and it resulted in August of last year, Mark Zuckerberg sending me a letter saying, the Biden administration pressed us to censor. We did it. We're sorry. And we're not going to do it again. And since then, the tech companies have changed. So that is unbelievable what they tried to do to your First Amendment rights as someone in the press in America. That is frightening.
And the change that you saw, Elon Musk bought Twitter, and like I said,
made a huge difference.
The world did change. But now when you look at, let's say, the law firms, the president says to the law firms, either you come across and start doing the stuff that I want you to do, or you're not going to be allowed to basically, we're going to make it impossible for you to practice if you don't do the stuff that I want to do. Does that give you any pause?
It's not censorship. It's not like, law firms, we're going to tell the tech companies take down certain things you post on your law firm website and everything. And that to me is, I think a huge distinction. What I know is what they did, the censorship they did to American citizens relative to COVID and other issues. And remember, they also attempted to set up a bureaucracy to tell you what you could say, what you could tweet, what you could post, what you could read. It was called the Disinformation Governance Board. Like, what? Is that the most Orwellian sounding thing I've ever heard? Nina Jankowicz is going to run this out of the Department of Homeland Security. They always put it out security. Like, that's their goal. It's scary what they were doing.
But you feel confident that if you saw that kind of behavior happening in this administration, you would stand up, you'd get up on your hind legs.
First Amendment's the First Amendment, regardless of whether it's Republicans in control, Congress, the White House, the Senate, what have you. It's just, the First Amendment's the first. It has served us well. We had Rupa Subramanya, journalist from Canada, testify in front of our committee. She covered the big trucker crisis, strike and blockade, everything up there. She came in, and one of the things she said was, she said, it's one of the hallmarks of Western civilization is you can debate. You can say what you want. Chris has even said a few negative things about me, if you can imagine that.
No, I would
you can say what you want.
I would never say that.
You can say what you want. I can say what, we have debate, because if you don't have debate, the alternatives to settling disputes is frightening. It is scary. And RFK Jr., when he testified in front of our committee as well, same time, when he testified, in fact, I had him in when he was a Democrat, before he'd switched. I took heat for, like, what's Jordan, the conservative guy, bringing in Democrats to testify because we care about the First Amendment? He came in and he said, when you look at history, never forget this, when you look at history, it is never the good guys who are for censorship. It is always the bad guys. And we should just keep that in mind. That's why we have the First Amendment.
We have a First Amendment because free speech is actually not popular. That's why we have a First Amendment, is to protect speech that is unpopular.
Well said.
Okay. One of the promises, I think of you as a good avatar for the Tea Party movement and the successes that were made along the way. One place where it didn't happen was in restoring regular order in the House and getting to a place where the House really could work its will and the committees could do their work, and we would get back to a point where, instead of this deal where 5 minutes before midnight somebody pulls a package out of their coat pocket and says, if you don't vote for this by midnight, then all good things in the world will come to an end and you've got to do it. You have been a proponent of regular order. You have pushed to decentralize authority in the House and have it work its way up. How's that going?
Well, I do think we get that in our committee. You can talk to any members on our committee, let the debate happen, let it work, and our Republican members. And, we pass the bills out of our committee that Judiciary Committee wants to pass. So I do think it works there. Floor is a different animal, and part of the dynamic is when you got a 3, 4, or 5 seat majority fluctuating here, depends on who's there that day. And it's just tough. It's just tough to get, pick your metaphor, herding cats around them. It's just hard to do.
What did John Boehner say? It was like a wheelbarrow full of frogs. Yeah,
and you got to, and there's always something, and we see it almost on a daily basis. But in the end, we kind of come full circle. The president weighs in, the speaker works hard. You can get there. And in the end, I think you get a product. My wife and I we went to dinner a week ago Saturday at the little pizza place there in downtown Urbana, Ohio, God's country. And we went there, and it was amazing. Walking, people were coming up to me. They appreciated the big, beautiful bill. They did. Thanks for passing. Appreciate the tax cuts. So in the end, I think it works out.
Is there really pizza in Urbana, Ohio?
You should come to our little town square. We got some nice restaurants, it's really nice. A little town of 10,000 people just west of Columbus.
I don't want to get into trouble with anybody from Urbana, but I'm going to be skeptical about the pizza in Urbana. But maybe it's good. The brewery, it's good. And some of the best pizza in that county.
Pretty good beer too.
Okay, if you were from Wapakoneta, Ohio, just like Neil Armstrong, you would know him already because he'd be your congressman. But if you don't, here he is, Jim Jordan. A big round of applause for Chairman Jim Jordan.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you.